Hello, a very good morning to all of you. We are back to Unit 3 and we are going to revise that. This unit is dealing with academic writing and the process of writing. So, let us go to the core of academic writing. The process of writing. The most delineating features of academic writing can be described in 3 words. So, the process of academic writing can be summarized in 3 important words, and they are formal, objective, and technical. We will see the meaning of these 3 words now. First, we will see what is formal. Primarily, an academic work is written in a formal language. So, basically, every academic writing is formal. It is not informal because we use the formal language only. Next term is objective. Now, objective means not subjective. It is objective or impersonal in tone and uses language to present views without personal bias. So, when you are writing anything academic, we have to be very careful that we don't involve our personal opinions or personal views. That means it will become subjective. So, as far as possible, we are trying to be very objective. Next term is technical. What is the meaning of technical? It is organized in a set pattern, uses technical terms and expressions, and follows a style prescribed for the discipline. So, depending on the topic and the discipline, we choose the vocabulary or the technical terms related to that particular topic. And there is also a style that is prescribed for this writing. We have already seen 2 types of styles, that is MLA style and APA style. So, depending on our area or discipline, we choose either of these 2 styles. Next, features of academic writing. Answers to the question who is writing and why are implicit in all academic writing. So, there are a few things that we should keep in mind. Whenever you start writing, we have to ask certain questions. Who is writing and why, the purpose. So, these 2 are very important in the process of academic writing. The educational level of the audience, their predispositions on the topic, their age, ethnic identity and gender may also influence your writing style and content. So, depending on the level of your audience, who are you going to present this writing, or who is going to read that. So, that is very, very important. That plays a very crucial role in your style of writing. So, the factors like their attitude about the topic that you are going to write, their age level, whether you are writing to the teenagers, middle-aged people, or depending on their age. Then ethnic identity, which group they belong to, racial, whether you are writing to the public which is predominantly white or black or any other particular group, ethnicity, and also gender. So, all these things will greatly influence your style of writing and your tone of writing. Now, let us go to the other different factors. There are 3 major processes preceding the submission of an academic assignment. So, there are 3 different processes when we come to the very point of writing. And these three are pre-writing, writing and revision. And we will see these three processes in detail in the next class. Each of these processes involves certain steps to be followed. Let's see those steps. First, decide on what you want to study. Here, study means to research. So, what are you trying to write about? What is the topic? That's the first thing you have to decide. The content. The first step involves choosing a subject, find out an aspect or area within the subject or to focus, and narrow down to formulate your topic. So, we are trying to focus on a particular topic, not a wider area, but we are trying to pinpoint to a very small area of that topic. That is the meaning of narrowing down to formulate your topic. Understand the purpose and audience of your proposed work. So, why you are writing this? What is the purpose? And whom are you going to address this topic? Who do you think are your audience? So, these things should be properly studied. Second step is collect information on or expert sources. So, before you start writing, you should have enough points, enough ideas. So, that has to be collected from various sources. So, the second step is to identify the sources of information, take down notes and prepare a working bibliography or list of works to be consulted or quoted. So, you will have to refer many books, many authors, and all those books should be listed out because that is going to be a part of your bibliography or work cited. Third step is prepare a framework or structure to work on. So, you need a framework before you start the writing. So, third step comprises finalizing the basic premises. Premises here means arguments or statements. Then key points, the organizational pattern of the work and grouping of points for paragraph. So, all these things include your framework, your basic statements, key points, then how are you going to organize the whole thing in different paragraphs. So, all these will make up your framework. Fourth step is start writing. So, once you have the framework, you have to develop it. Framework is like the skeleton, and when you are adding details, it is like adding flesh to that skeleton. Drafting begins as a fourth step. Here, preparing the first draft, going through the draft to ensure there are no structural and thematic inconsistencies, editing and revising the paper are the major steps involved. So, here you have the first draft, and then you have to go through again, make necessary changes, do the editing and see that your sentences are correct, grammatical correctness, spellings or thematic inconsistencies, whether you are consistent with your opinions, whether you contradict yourself sometime. So, all these things should be checked. Language errors, use of taboo means bad words, not socially unacceptable terms, or discriminatory words, discriminating against a particular group or gender, whatever it is. So, such kind of expressions should be avoided, and if there are such expressions, you have to edit them. Now, we come to the final draft and submitting. That is the fifth step. It is always better to keep a checklist to verify if anything important is left out before submitting. So, if you have a checklist, based on that you can always check and see whether any important point is left out. Now we come to another important point. It is called audience analysis. Now we already know what is the meaning of audience. Audience means who you are going to present your topic, or who are you addressing. That is your audience. So analyzing the audience, that means to understand clearly what is your audience or who is your audience. That is very important. Only then you can communicate effectively. For example, we are going to talk to a group of people. And before talking, you should know who you are talking to, whether you are talking to children or adults or old age people. So depending on that audience, you will have to modify your tone, your content, your style, all that. So in writing also the same way, depending on the audience, you will have to adjust your writing. Before venturing into an academic writing assignment, you need to have a clear idea about your audience. So it's very important, understanding your audience. So in order to understand, you have to ask a few questions. Who am I writing for? What do I expect my readers to know about my topic? That means, what are you trying to convey to the reader? What do I want my readers to think about my topic? So you will have something in mind what the reader or your audience should think about your topic. And then lastly, what my readers already know about the topic. So they may know something, pre-knowledge. That also you should have in mind before you start writing. There is a widespread belief that academic writers should maintain objectivity in their approaches and perspectives. But what rings at the core of your work is your own distinct voice. So, as a rule or as a principle, it is always good to be objective in your writing. As far as possible, we are trying to be objective, not subjective. But basically, what you are trying to convey is basically your opinion, your view. But it should not appear like that. Then your objective will fail. You should be try to be maximum. You should try to be very objective as far as possible. That is, if you are writing a persuasive piece, there is a consistent attempt throughout your work to convince the reader that your views are worth considering. So when you are intending to convince some people about your ideas or your views, definitely you will be writing your view. So that is only natural, and you are trying to convince other people about your opinion. Still, you normally do not use such expressions as "I think," "in my opinion," and "I found out that." So this kind of expressions should be avoided, because they will clearly tell the reader that it is your subjective view and there is nothing objective about it. In order to make your writings more inclusive, it is better to write without reinforcing your stake or your view in the work. So as far as possible, try not to project yourself, your views in your writing. Always base your writing on evidences, examples, sources and all that, not always your view or your opinion. So it is always better to be neutral. So you sound neutral, you neither oppose something or support. You are trying to be neutral, the middle way. That's the meaning of being objective rather than subjective. Whatever is the voice in the text, one thing is crucial. Your voice in academic assignments should sound educated or well informed, sophisticated and rational. So the tone of your writing or your style should be very educated and well informed. So your reader or your audience should have no doubt about the authenticity or the veracity of your writing. That means you should sound authentic. You should sound very true. That you know certain things, and you are presenting things in a logical fashion or in a rational manner, and convey your ideas more directly and clearly. So there should not be any vagueness or ambiguity in your writing. It has to be told directly and clearly as far as possible. Now we come to the structure of an academic essay. The major parts of an essay include introductory paragraph, body paragraph, and concluding paragraph. So when you look at the writing, there are three different types of paragraphs. First paragraph is introductory paragraph, which is introducing the whole topic. Next we have body paragraph. There can be 3 or more body paragraph, and of course you have a concluding paragraph. So basically you will have minimum 5 paragraphs. That is 1 introductory, 1 concluding, and 3 body paragraphs. Now we will see in brief what all these 3 different types of paragraph do. The introductory paragraph is the first paragraph of your essay. Introduction aims at grabbing the attention of your reader and makes a few statements on background, the main ideas and outline of your essay. So here you are introducing your essay, and you are trying to get the attention of your reader. So you have to make certain statements which will really captivate the audience or the reader. So that introductory paragraph should contain the main ideas and the outline of your essay, and preferably even the thesis statement should be there in that introductory paragraph. Next we come to body paragraph. So it is the main paragraph of an essay. Here you find the topic is getting developed. Each paragraph in an essay works like a link in a chain, contributing to the wholeness of the work. So each paragraph should be different links in a chain. So they should not be loosely connected. They have to be very logically and systematically connected, contributing to the wholeness of the work. However, paragraphs are to be written in such a way as to make them stand independent of the totality of the essay. So each paragraph will be dealing with a particular point, but it is part of the whole idea. So there should be some independence. That paragraph should stand on its own, but at the same time it is part of the whole writing. Next one is a concluding paragraph. So it is the last paragraph of the essay. You are expected to restate your thesis statement given in the introduction, summarize the points through which you explained your thesis statement in the body paragraph, and finish your essay with a concluding remark. So this concluding paragraph should contain the gist. That means you should state your thesis statement once again while summing up, and then try to give a concluding remark in the final concluding paragraph. Now we come to 3 types of sentences in academic essay. These 3 types are topic sentence, substantiation, conclusion, or transition. So each sentence in a paragraph has a function. Let us see the function of each of these sentences. First we will see topic sentence. What is the function of a topic sentence? So it expresses the main idea of each paragraph. So topic sentence gives you what is the topic of that particular paragraph or the main idea. It contains the focus of the paragraph and tells readers what the paragraph is going to be about. Although the topic sentence can be located anywhere in a paragraph in academic essays, it is usually located at the beginning of each paragraph. So each paragraph should start with the idea that is going to be explained in that particular paragraph. Next, substantiation. Successful academic writing requires claims and arguments to be substantiated with evidence from research or other authoritative sources. So here substantiation means when you are giving certain arguments or your certain statements, they should be supported with certain facts or data or other sources. Otherwise your statements will not stand on their own. So this practice goes to the heart of academic writing because it reflects the objectivity of your writing. So this substantiation is very, very important in academic writing. It is, let's say, it is the backbone. Without that, your writing will be hollow. It will not be logical or rational. Next, concluding sentence. So it summarizes the points that you have made. It should tie the whole paragraph together without simply rephrasing the topic sentence. So concluding sentence is going to summarize the whole paragraph, and it is going to link the whole paragraph together. So that is the function of a concluding sentence. So these three types of sentences are found in every paragraph. At the end of your concluding paragraph, your concluding sentence should wrap up your entire argument and provide guidance to your readers about what to do with the information you have given them. Now here this concluding sentence is coming at the end of your academic writing, that is in the concluding paragraph. So in the concluding paragraph you have a concluding sentence, and what is it trying to tell? So here it is a concluding sentence which is wrapping up your entire argument. It is providing guidance to your readers about what to do with the information that you have given them, or how is it going to help your readers, whether they have to do any follow up in that matter. So these kind of things can be included in your concluding sentence, in your concluding paragraph. I think with that we have come to the end of the first part of Unit 3 revision. So until we meet again in the concluding part of that unit, it is goodbye. Thank you.